What is the best NFT utility you can have in your NFT project or Web3 brand in 2023? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, what inspired this video today was this very recent case study I made about Pudgy Penguins. They are one of the few NFT projects that are thriving right now in the middle of the bear market, and they've managed to build one of the strongest community. They've reached an all-time high, and they just recently launched their toy line on Amazon and made $500,000 in their first 48 hours of being live. And Pudgy Penguin goes out and launches a toy collection, and everyone kind of celebrates them. However, at the same time, a couple weeks before that, we have a project like Moonbirds who announces a big partnership with Spotify where Moonbirds holders are going to have the capacity to listen to an exclusive playlist on Spotify only for Moonbirds holder. This is aimed to be a test at what is going to become Spotify's new token-gated feature. So, which of those two would you say is real utility for the holders? Pudgy Penguin launches a toy company mainly targeted at Web2 people. Moonbirds launches a playlist for its Web3 holders. In truth, you would think that Moonbirds actually is releasing things that are more useful, more utility for their NFT holders. What blew my mind is that the response from the community was completely opposite. People in the Moonbirds corner completely fudded the project. It was a shit show. People were like, we paid $30,000 to have access to a playlist. Well, for Pudgy Penguins, the entire community celebrated them. And this really got my head scratching because I get the chance to speak with dozens of NFT project founders every single week. They all want to build great utility. They all want to find a way to change the space and create something that is very useful to people. But I'm starting to realize right now that in the NFT space, people don't really want utility, or not the type of utility we all think about. The real utility right now in 2023 is community. Community is the best utility you can have for your NFT project. And everywhere we look, every time I try to go around, look for a community, look for a case study, see what other projects that are crushing it, this point keeps reaffirming. Community is the best utility. So let's talk about that. What does that mean? What does that look like for you? And how can you use that within your project on your quest to building the next blue chip project? Now, this is something I talk about very regularly on this channel. There's one core difference between Web2 business model and Web3 business models. In the Web2 space, product comes first, and then you build a community around your product. You have a coffee company, you make your coffee, go to Nicaragua, get your coffee, and then you go out there and you try to build a community around people that are interested in dark roast coffee that tastes like earth. Okay? That's a Web2 business model. Web3 business model is you build a community and then you launch a product around that. So you build a community of strong coffee aficionados. Guys, I just tasted this coffee. I just went to this coffee shop. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about that? You build that community, offer so much value that you have one of the strongest global communities, and from there you launch your own coffee brands, your own coffee accessories. And that's what the Web3 business model looks. And although this has been theory for most of Web3, which is 2.5 years now, we've just had our first proof of concept of how this would work in real life. So we just had Pudgy Penguins launch a toy line collection that is very geared towards the Web2 space, yet they were able to use their existing community, the Pudgy Penguin community, to skyrocket the sale of these plush penguins on Amazon and become #1 trading on Amazon. Now you'd ask yourself, would this have worked if Pudgy Penguins didn't have their existing community? Probably not. It is the community that pushed the product forward and that made it what it is today. I had the chance last week to speak with someone that orchestrated the connection between Pudgy Penguins and PMI, the company that manufactured and distributes the toys for Pudgy Penguins. And that guy was telling me, like, it takes about 4 months for a company like PMI to break even whenever they launch a new toy collection. They invest a lot on manufacturing, and then it takes them 4 months for sales to catch up to the cost of goods, and only then do they can become profitable. With Pudgy Penguin, they were profitable on the first day, and that was all because of the community. So now that we understand this, Web2 business model, product launches into a community. Web3 community launches into a product. Doesn't that mean that the community should be the core focus of one's endeavor in the Web3 space? When a lot of people are just trying to build a product before the community. So they're trying to build a new analytics tool for the NFT space, and then they want to launch that and launch a collection, an NFT collection around that. If that's the case, if you are launching a product and then you want to build a community around your product, then you are going the Web2 route. So you're not a Web3 product. You're just a Web2 product that happens to work in the Web3 space. I, for example, run a growth consulting agency called Unfungible, and it's a very Web2 business model, but we just happen to serve Web3 people. Unfungible is not a Web3 company, it just serves Web3 clients. You get the difference. And it's very important because if we are to look at some of the top communities right now, none of those communities have utility. None of those have their product yet. They're all like trying to figure it out, they're trying to position. And the community right now is betting on the community itself. I recently invested in the Azuki community. By far my biggest investment in my life. The reason I got into the Azuki community was because of the community. So I was like, I want to be part of that. I want to connect with those people. I'm going to surround myself with those people, and I want to associate myself with these people. So that constituted the logic behind my investment. And the same applies to the top communities. Whenever you think Bored Ape Yacht Club, what do you think about? You think about metaverse maybe, think about status, celebrities. If you want to be labeled as one of those, Bored Ape Yacht Club will be appealing to you. When you think Azuki, what do you think about? You're thinking fidgetals, you're thinking fashion, you're thinking innovation, you're thinking builders. When you think about Pudgy Penguins, you think about intellectual property, you think about media, and you think about toys. Clone X, Nike, sneakers, fashion. If you're into that, Clone X is your community. Sappy Seals, memes and vibes. Kaiju Kings, you're an OG, maybe a builder in the NFT space. What do you think of Utes? Utes, you think about content creator. A lot of the big content creators out there on Twitter, they're Utes holders. So Utes is positioning themselves as becoming the go-to content creator hub. So none of those right here have direct utility, yet they're the top projects and people are paying thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to become part of that. And they've each positioned themselves in a subcategory, in a sub-niche. None of them are really overlapping. They've all found their product market fit differently within the category. And if there's a project that still isn't sure what they are, who they are, and where they fit, you're gonna see that being reflected within the community. For example, Doodles. Doodles, it's like their IP, they're also fashion, maybe a little bit of music. They still haven't found their branding. And that's why we've recently seen them kind of fumble their own bags. Price has been down and sentiment has been down. A little bit of the same thing with Moonbirds. Moonbirds is a perfect example for you. So Moonbirds at first started blue chip project, 15 ETH out of the gate. They held their floor steady, the next blue chip NFT project. And then slowly, Moonbirds started like deviating from what they are. People were lost and they didn't know where exactly the Moonbirds fit. And this is when their price started to go down. Now, the moment they went out and they repositioned and they were like, okay guys, we are now the community for art collectors. A lot of people didn't like that. But what happened, and you can see that on the price chart, this is when the price stabilized. Because all of a sudden, people knew what they were getting. People knew that, okay, if I am into art collecting, this is my community. If not, I'm just gonna get out. This is it. So this is where we saw the price like kind of go down, and then it stabilized whenever they announced that. Whoever didn't resonate with that, they left. But that's where they positioned themselves. So in the context of your project, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about utility, if you're scratching your head, you're trying to think, what type of utility can I create? I know it might be weird for me to tell you that community is the best utility, but right now, it really is. So instead of you focusing on trying to build the craziest marketplace with the craziest technology that you probably don't have the funding or resources or even knowledge to build, whatever you're trying to build in terms of utility, a lot of times I hear things, I'm like, man, this is gonna take like decades of experience with a big team for you to make this, and you're one solo entrepreneur trying to do this. You know, community is much easier to pull off, but it's a lot harder on the marketing side because it's a marketing game. We now have the technology for Web3 to go mainstream. How can we build communities and now niches that are opening for us? Before, typical communities were reserved within the Web3 space and whatever Web3 participants were interested in. Because we're only a couple hundreds of thousand or a couple of million people active in the Web3 space, there's only so many communities you could have. You know, fidgetals, toys, IP, degens, trading, memes, vibes. But what about the hundreds of thousands of other communities that could exist? Fitness, subcategories of fashion, food and beverage, coffee, alcohol, whatever it is you're into, you could build strong communities within that. I was able to build a Web 2 community in the technology and engineering space in Web 2 to almost 1 million community members. So try to think, how can you build a community, and then how can you launch an NFT for those people? Let's say you're into tennis. How can you build the strongest worldwide community of tennis players? Whether that's locally, whether that's internationally. And how can you then use NFT technology to help bring products to them? Again, remember, now we're shifting the business model completely, and this is a new kind of perception I would like to invite you. The NFT is no longer the product. The NFT is just the packaging that comes with the product. When you receive a Pudgy Penguin plush toy, there's a QR code there that you scan, then opens an NFT for you that you can mint, and it's like the accessories of the Pudgy Penguin. And this allows you to interact with the penguin in deeper ways. How can you replicate this and use NFT technology within your business model? This is my invitation to you, but also my challenge, because right now I am introducing you to a new paradigm shift, but one that I think is very necessary and I think might save a lot of you guys hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to develop utility that is, that might never go anywhere, and help you build what is important in the context of Web3, a real community. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video and want to continue learning, I'm going to be attaching a video right here that I think is going to be helpful for you. And if, ladies and gentlemen, you need help on your journey launching and building your NFT project, we can help with that. All you need to do is book a free 30-minute consultation call by clicking on the link in the description of this video, so you can get in touch with us and you can learn how we can help you and how you can get involved with us. See you soon, everyone.